the Yankees didn't actually need Freddy Peralta, right?
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network in the country. I'm Stacey Gotsulias alongside Brian McKeon. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. Thank you for joining us for this live show. It's a live Friday edition of Fanmail Friday. Brian, are you hunkered down yet for the big snowstorm that's going to affect like half the country?
Yeah, can't wait. I'm actually interested to see how bad it actually winds up being.
I will say this, you know me with numbers, 1996, 2006, 2016, there have been big, giant storms in the tri-state area. So this could be a big one just because of the 6. I don't know what it is about 6s. All right, coming up, as I mentioned, it's Fanmail Friday. If you're new to the show, we do this every week, and we start out with our Insider Club. We do have an everydayer question, though. Our first one ever, which is coming up later in the show, which I'm pretty excited about. But if you watch us all the time, you know we start with Insider Betty, and this is what Betty had to say. Now that I've exhaled a big sigh of relief with the Bellinger deal, do you think we'll go after another pitcher since they're being snatched up? And if so, should we go for a starter or a reliever?
Yeah, I think their priority is going to be upgrading the bullpen, or beefing up the bullpen, I guess is the way to put it. I think they're fine in the bullpen, but I think some reinforcements are what they're going to look for. I think they're good on closer. They know they have Bednar there. It feels like they're going to be looking for reinforcements and trying to build a bridge to Bednar at the back end of that bullpen. I do think they're out of the starter market. I would just be stunned if they acquired a starter at this point.
Right. We saw Freddy Peralta go off the board. We also saw Mackenzie Gore go off the board. That happened. If we have time later in the show, we'll talk about that. Mm-hmm. But I think relief is more important for the Yankees right now because, you know, when you think about it, they did lose a bunch of guys.
No, this was so important. This week was so important. And yeah, I think they're out of the market when it comes to big splashes going forward. There could be a few moves here and there, but I don't think they're going to be making any major moves going forward.
Right.
Let's go to Eric S. He says, what do you think of the Tigers asking for Rice, Schlittler, and Lombard for Skubal? I have been upset at Cashman for the lack of action, but I think that this is too high of a price.
Yeah, so this is what Eric is referring to. This came out earlier on Friday from John Heyman that the Tigers asked for a lot. They were joking that the Tigers asked for half of the Yankees, and from looking at that, I mean that's I know it's Tarek Skubal, but
yeah, I think this was in John Heyman's article that was like New York Post protected, like you have to pay, but it's behind a paywall.
Oh yeah.
Yes, because I didn't see this come out earlier today until I've seen this. That is too high of a price.
Yeah.
You don't know what the future of Cam Schlittler is yet. What if he becomes an ace? Then you just gave up an ace for 1 year of Tarek Skubal. Tarek Skubal is 1,000,000% going to hit free agency.
Right.
He's not going to sign in advance. So, you saw how stressful Cody Bellinger was, and I'll tell you this. You probably remember a couple of years ago when Aaron Judge was a free agent and how stressful that was. Could you imagine how stressful Tarek Skubal free agency would be? And remember how stressful Juan Soto was? But imagine how stressful Tarek Skubal would be if you're going into it knowing that you gave up Cam Schlittler, knowing that you gave up Ben Rice, knowing that you gave up George Lombard Jr. You can't. It's too high of a price to pay. And Tarek Skubal's a great pitcher, but that's not exactly their weak point going into the year next year, Stacey. It's just not.
Right. All right. Our next question is from David F. If you could add one Yankee legend in their prime to this specific 2026 roster to put them over the top, who are you picking? I feel like this team is crying out for a prime Andy Pettitte to stabilize the rotation.
Oh, absolutely not. I could not disagree with David more. Like Andy, they're fine, David, when it comes to the rotation. They're going to have Garrett Cole, Max Fried. There's your power lefty right there, Max Fried and Carlos Rodon. Andy Pettitte is not what they're looking for. I have the perfect answer, in my opinion.
So do
Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter. They don't love what they have at shortstop going forward.
A-Rod at short in his prime.
But he wasn't playing short. I don't think of him as a Yankee shortstop, but that's a better answer.
I thought about it as soon as I saw that question.
Yeah, it's the left side, or honestly, or A-Rod at third.
Yeah.
Like either way, they need the left side of the infield shored up, and they have 2 Hall of Famers in their history in the left side of the infield. So
Yeah.
they absolutely 1000%. It's not the pitching staff. I want to ask you this. Where do the sour grapes come from with the pitching staff?
I think people are worried because
comments about it.
I think they're worried because Cole's not coming back right away. Rodon's going to be out for a little bit. You have to rely on Fried. You have to rely on Schlittler. It's his first, last year was his first time up. This is his first full year. I mean, there are some question marks. I can understand why people would be a little nervous.
I'm not as concerned. It makes me feel like I should be more concerned.
Yeah, see, that's the problem. Sometimes you're thinking to yourself, oh, yeah, everything's fine. But then you see what other people say, and you're like, oh, it makes you second guess yourself.
Maybe. All right, let's hear from Chris F. Chris F says, yes, we got Belly back. I agree with that sentiment. Question is, now what? Are we done, or do we add some more pitching, especially after losing Peralta to the Mutts? I love the pod, and let's go Yankees.
I have to laugh at that. My dad used to call them that. Not that he didn't like the Mets, but he just liked calling them the Mutts. Yeah.
Another pitching question.
Yeah, there's a few of them. Again, I think bullpen.
I think bullpen too. I think building a perfect bridge that goes from Tim Hill in your lefty spot to David Bednar. That's what I think you're looking for right now, and hoping that Duvall is that piece that you have missing. I think they're depending on him having a big year. I don't think starters. And do you consider it losing out on Peralta?
No, because here's what I was thinking about. The Mets needed Peralta because their rotation isn't as solid as the Yankees, where Peralta would be like an insurance policy for the Yankees. So giving up too much for an insurance policy, especially for someone who's going into free agency soon, kind of like a Tarek Skubal,
giving up the package the Mets gave up made sense because of the need they had at pitcher.
Yeah, they had a bigger need for it. Yeah.
So I don't really consider it losing out. I'd be skeptical on thinking how involved the Yankees actually were. I'm sure they made a phone call, but I don't think they were majorly involved in making a move for Peralta. You're up to you now.
Yes. Hold on. Let me get my bearings. Okay. Alex. Glad to get Belly. I think the contract will be good for both sides. I think Spencer Jones would be the outfielder traded instead of Jason Dominguez. Thoughts? Suppose Grisham goes back to his norm, possibly could be that fourth outfielder. I'm ready for spring training games. P.S. Stay safe this weekend. 80 degrees in Florida. All right. Well, you don't have to rub that in. The one time my dad drove down to Florida. Actually, it was the year he passed away, but earlier in the year when he was feeling okay, he drove down to Florida by himself to go visit his friends. And he calls me up. It's literally 15 degrees here. And he calls me up from St. Augustine. He's like, oh, I'm on the beach. It's too hot. I'm like, Dad, are you seriously complaining that it's too hot right now? I'm like, I don't even want to set foot out of the house. And you're complaining that it's hot in Florida. Okay.
He was definitely trolling you. I'd probably be willing to put money on that.
Yes.
I would say this. I agree with the sentiment there. I think Spencer Jones is the trade chip. And I think Jason Dominguez is the guy that you keep and you rely on his talent to bear fruit or later on in his career. Giving up on Jason Dominguez is the wrong move. And I don't necessarily think they're totally doing that, but there's too much skill there. There's too much talent there. And he didn't have an awful rookie year. I also think the unknown of Spencer Jones not hitting the major league level makes his trade value a little higher. I think they should look to trade him before he makes his debut. As sad as that sounds, I know we've been talking about this prospect for a while and we want to see him in a Yankee uniform.
Yeah.
But I think it behooves the Yankees to trade him before he debuts in pinstripes.
I just want to see him in the dugout standing. Well, we might see it in spring training if he doesn't get traded before then. Or maybe not because there's a WBC, but seeing him standing next to Judge and Stanton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, Spencer Jones is one of those guys that you just have to move him at this point. There's no, even if he gets called up at some point, there's no room for him to consistently play.
Right.
Let's go to Debbie. Debbie says, Fanmail Friday, how do you think the Yankees should go about getting some right-handed hitters? Catcher for sure is discussed, but where else? Outfield? How about Goldie for a year? Also good to mentor Rice. Guess we shall see Cashman's plan. I feel like this would have been a question last year.
Right. This feels more like a 2025 question. I mean,
I don't know. I don't know if there's going to be many additions to the lineup, to be honest with you. Like, I think having Caballero and Rosario, like those guys being on the bench are going to be big pieces.
Right.
They're depending on McMahon to have a better year offensively. Like, I don't know if you can necessarily. I think Goldschmidt's out. Yeah, and I think him getting no like takers around the rest of the league either. Like the Yankee, like he's got no one asking for his services, so I think he's probably going to be forced into a retirement, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. I also think too, Goldschmidt doesn't make any sense because you want Rice to play full time. You want him to play 150 games.
Yes, because he played too many different spots in 2025. It wasn't as much of a detriment to him because he finished with 26 home runs and he hit 265 and, he didn't look terrible. So I think I'd rather see Ben Rice have a full year in one position and
build that confidence, honestly.
Yeah. All right, coming up, we have an interesting suggestion from one of our insiders regarding the backup catcher position. We're going to talk about it next.
Guys, tax season doesn't have to take over your life, and this year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand a few things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax full service, you can have your taxes done for you by trusting a local expert, start to finish, without the stress or the guesswork. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, you can meet with the local TurboTax expert in person or connect online. They'll handle everything for you from W-2s to self-employment forms and work to getting every deduction possible. It's a huge time saver and it gives real peace of mind knowing that an expert is handling it. Now, for a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150, all in. If a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year, just file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit turbotax.com/local to book your appointment today. We want to thank you guys for making Locked On Yankees your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. Haven't joined our Everydayer Club yet? Well, what are you waiting for? You get ad-free episodes compatible with every major podcasting app, Apple, Spotify, you name it. Plus, you get access to our members-only Everydayer Club Discord with the group chat that's just for Locked On Yankees listeners. We drop breaking news, tease upcoming shows, and during games, we'll be in there chatting, complaining, celebrating, all along with you as the season goes on. You'll also score exclusive discounts on Locked On merchandise, so you can rep the network while you listen. And if you're a true New York sports fan, you'll get 60% off additional Everydayer Club subscriptions for your other favorite teams. Join now at lockedonyankees.supercast.com. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can scan the QR code in the right-hand corner of your screen or hit the link in our show notes. Stacey, we start off segment 2 of Fanmail Friday with a long one from Richard that we are glad to read. Richard says, Fanmail Friday, hot take, the Yankees should bring back Gary Sanchez. That is a hot one. Before you roll your eyes, hear me out. Gary Sanchez is not the same catcher he was in New York years ago. He has quietly improved defensively, refined his receiving, and cleaned up his game calling. Now add this part. He's a right-handed power bat, something this lineup desperately lacks. He's a proven 30 home run upside. I don't know about that anymore. Experience handling elite pitching staffs and perfect veteran complement to Austin Wells. This isn't about replacing Wells. It's about protecting him. 162 games is brutal for young catchers. Gary gives you rest days, matchup advantages versus left-handed pitching, a legitimate power bat off the bench, and insurance if injuries hit. The Yankees don't have a backup catcher, and he could be a great fit. They need depth, power, opinions on Gary's options, and Gary Sanchez checks every box. Sometimes the smartest move is admitting the door shouldn't have been slammed shut. Stacey, I want to hear your take on this.
I've seen other people mention this, and I mean, I don't think it's a terrible idea, but I don't know. Like, does he do better as a backup without pressure on himself? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a power bat anymore. Like,
right.
You can't give him credit for that. In 2024 with Milwaukee, he had 11 home runs and 37 RBIs in 90 games. And then last year he only played 30 games, but he had 5 homers and 24 RBIs. So he should not be considered a power bat anymore. Right. And the year before with Minnesota, 2022, 16 homers, 61 RBIs. It's in 130 games. So he's not a power bat anymore at all. He also still strikes out a ton, Stacey. Last year he hit 231 with a 297 on base. .418 slugging. He's not giving you a lot.
But how about this? It's more than what JC Escarra could give.
True,
offensively.
True, but the Yankees as a regime, as this front office, certainly not known to admit their mistakes.
Right, that too.
And if they believe that Gary Sanchez is something and he could be a serviceable backup, is there any chance they bring him in and allow him the chance to become a stud again? No way. Like, Brian Cashman ain't admitting this kind of fault and having that come in. Also, too, there is a lot of fanfare around Gary Sanchez in this franchise. We all know it. We all lived through 2016. We were all there. There is something about Stacey. You can't let this guy come in. And then what if Austin Wells gets hurt for a week and Gary Sanchez plays and goes on one of those tears like we know he's capable of? Now,
like,
again, hasn't been capable of the last few years. But what if he does it? He has the flair for the dramatic.
Like he has that month that Tino Martinez had in 2005 when Jason Giambi was coming back from the steroid stuff and everyone was like, send Giambi to the minors because Tino was doing so well, and then Tino kind of dropped off.
And for a guy in Austin Wells who played really well in 2024, struggled through most of 2025, and you're hoping that returns to the 2024 upside that we saw out of him.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to bring Gary Sanchez and have the fan base turn on Austin Wells, who's a younger player who you have a lot more invested in. So I don't think it's worth that that circus that'll bring. But yeah, 30 home run upside I don't think is true anymore. Maybe his defensive metrics have moved. I got to be honest with you, I have not checked in on Gary Sanchez's defensive metrics lately, but I don't think there's a lot there, and I don't think the juice ain't worth the squeeze in my opinion on that one.
Right. Okay, so that's it for the insiders, and we have our first ever Everydayer Club question, and this comes from Tom. If you recall last week, we had someone ask us a question from YouTube, but it wasn't really a question. It was more us telling his wife to get him the Everydayer Club membership. And she did, because this is Tom.
Great work.
Tom says, it looks like we pretty much have the same offense as last year, but we also got rid of some bullpen pitchers who blew a lot of games for us. Do you know how many save situations we lost last year? And do you think we improved our bullpen enough to be contenders with the same offense? If not, who's still available?
Great question there, Tom. If you need us to get your wife to do any other things, please feel free to let us know with the Insider Club. We'll do our best. I'll say this. They haven't made those major upgrades in the bullpen. And I think what they're doing right now is relying on Matt Blake and the experience that he has in acquiring guys that are kind of not big names around Major League Baseball, but have often made huge bullpen contributions. Guys that Matt Blake's able to turn around, right? I think you're looking more towards that. Cheaper names that you haven't heard a lot about. They're not going after the big market guys this offseason. They weren't involved in Edwin Diaz. There was a couple of guys available this offseason. They weren't involved in Suarez. They really didn't involve themselves in any of those discussions. And I think it was for a reason. And
they didn't even offer Luke Weaver anything. They just let him
go. At
all.
And Devin Williams, the same thing. They let both of those guys just walk. So I would say this. They haven't made a lot of bullpen moves, and they haven't gone after the big names. And that may concern you a little bit, which should give you a little bit of confidence in that arena, is the fact that they willingly let guys walk. They didn't panic. They didn't offer contracts. They didn't keep themselves involved in negotiations. They have a plan with their bullpen. They know exactly what they're doing. For most of the guys that we've spoken to, like baseball insiders, they've pretty much told us that they're going to be working towards the bullpen throughout the season. There could be trades heading up to July, but they're going to look to trade for guys that are having bad years on the clubs they're in, guys that Matt Blake thinks that he can fix. And he's, from what Matt Blake's done with the Fernando Cruzes of the world and stuff, you gotta give him, the luxury of being able to do that. So I think that's what they're going to wind up doing.
As for the blown saves,
it was a lot.
It was a lot. I don't remember the exact number. And we had looked it up too, to see, because Devin Williams had a big hand in that. And, we were talking about the Yankees not winning the division and just missing out on the division. And if there were a few of those blown saves that he didn't make, like if he hadn't blown those saves, they could have won the division.
It was definitely, I think it was 11 for some reason. But it was over, it was over 10 for sure.
Oh, so, definitely.
He had a terrible year. There's no way around it. He couldn't. That's why I think honestly, the Mets signing for him is weird.
Yeah.
Because I don't get it, because to me, him going there, he proved he can't pitch in New York. He had a test in New York and proved he couldn't pitch here. So we'll see. But yeah, it's the Yankees clearly made the decision early on in the year that they weren't going to keep Weaver and Williams, and that wound up being true in the offseason.
Yep.
Let's go to Kevin Sweeney. He says, I need to watch the Yankees games for work, and I am very worried about the 2026 TV chaos. Can you talk about the various television deals the Yankees have in 2026?
Well, it's not necessarily the Yankees. It's MLB has all these deals because the schedules have come out for Peacock. The news came out that Bob Costas is going to be doing the pregame for Sunday Night Baseball for NBC. So you have, yes, Amazon, Peacock, Netflix for opening day because the Yankees are on opening day on Netflix, Fox for the Saturday games, ESPN still has games. It's a lot. There's at least
Apple TV. I'm sure you just said Apple TV, but that's another one.
I did not, but that's another one. Yes.
Yeah, on Wednesdays. So, or no, not on Wednesdays. Fridays. Friday. Yeah, Amazon's on Wednesdays.
Yes.
Yes Network this year will not be available. Well, so far will not be available on Dish Network. So if you go to Dish Network, it's not going to be there. It's usually not available on Sling TV and Hulu Plus Live TV if you're a cord cutter. But yeah, as Stacey said, we do a pretty good job on this show of letting you guys know what TV network the game is on the next day. We tend to do that every single day. Again, we're on 5 days a week during the season. So in our last segment, we do usually go over tomorrow's pitching matchup along with what TV provider it's on, so you guys can be a little more focused. So there's a reason to tune into Locked On Yankees every single day to know what TV station the Yankees are on, because we are in 2026 and that's what watching baseball is like.
Yeah, a lot of different choices. I kind of understand why older people find it annoying because there's too many providers.
If you're an older person, I totally get it, and I totally get the frustration. The only thing I would say is welcome to the new age. Like, this is how things are done now, and whether you like it or not, that's how they're going to be done.
Yeah, it's just, I feel bad. My mom's 90-year-old friend loves watching the Yankees, but she doesn't have the money for all these different services and stuff, so she'll listen on the radio when she can't get it on Yes. So
my grandma will just choose not to watch. If it's on like Amazon, she won't bother figuring it out. She just won't watch.
Yeah, no, Sandy's very big, and I feel bad. She's into the Rangers, poor Sandy, and she's into the Yankees at 90 years old. So
I don't know how she stayed alive with the Rangers is remarkable.
Yeah, the Rangers are, that's another discussion for another show. Coming up, more questions from our YouTube viewers and a couple of news items from around the league.
We're back with more YouTube questions. Guys, just to make you aware for Monday's episode, we are going to be having on, I think as of now, maybe the most legendary guest we've had. I mean, maybe my most fun guest, honestly, like the most enjoyable I've had doing an interview. Tim Kurkjian is going to be on the show. ESPN, long time. You guys obviously know who Tim Kurkjian is if you're a baseball fan. Some amazing stories that he tells throughout this interview. It is an incredible time. I don't know if you had as much fun as I did, but I loved it so much, particularly a Mickey Mantle story. I want you guys to keep your ears peeled out for, because it was a ton of fun.
Yes.
Stacey, did you enjoy it too?
I did. My favorite story was the Don Zimmer one. So
yes.
Yeah.
There's plenty of things to tune in for, and you're going to want to hear the whole interview because he's full of stories about baseball history. It was so much fun to hear him tell these stories. So be tuned for that. It'll be out Monday, right, Stacey?
Yep.
So if you guys are snowed in, you'll have something to watch.
I'm purposely scheduling it later tonight to come out Monday in case the power is knocked out where I live. Yep. So it'll be up Monday regardless.
There you go, guys.
Yeah.
Let's hear from Peter Pinstripe. He says, are you disappointed the Yankees didn't acquire Peralta? Personally, I feel like waiting on his free agency was the right move. Devin Williams is a cautionary tale of talent in Milwaukee, not translating to New York. I don't know if that's mutually exclusive. Like, I don't know if because Devin Williams didn't work in New York, that Peralta's not going to work in New York.
I think that might be different because you don't know how anyone's going to react to New York.
Yeah, and I think it's just a surplus of starters. You didn't need to give up as much for Peralta. Also, side note, I'm not accusing you of doing this, Peter, but this is what a lot of Yankee fans do. But the comment that Peter makes of, personally, I feel like waiting for his free agency was the right move. The Yankees don't have to be involved in every player that ever becomes a free agent because he's talented. Like, I don't know if they're going to be involved in Peralta. And honestly, if he's with the Mets and he has a good year, why he's not going to leave the Mets? He's not. Like, they're going to give him the biggest contract. They're going to be the highest bidder.
Oh, yeah.
And he's going to go there. Like, the Yankees are not going to play in that field, and I don't want them to. I don't want them giving Freddy Peralta $40+ million a year. They have their starters. They have their starting staff. Plus, if they get into a postseason series, they have the 4 that they want. So I think they're starting. I'm not as concerned with the rotation as a lot of people seem to be.
All right. Next up, L Diaz 0484. Why trade Dominguez or Jones? I mean, Grisham is basically a rental. 2027 is a lock to lock out, and outfield market is awful next offseason. Shouldn't high ceiling outfielders be premium instead of a spare?
Oh, I think because part of what they're trying to do next year is depending on Grisham having the same season he had last year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they need that offense, and there's no guarantee you're going to get 30 home runs out of Dominguez or Jones. So yeah, I think I don't think they look at Grisham as a rental. I think they look at Grisham as a significant part of their team going into next year. He's their everyday starting center fielder.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's looked at as a rental by any means. Stacey, let's hear from Guardian Effie, I guess. Do you think the Yankees and Mets are significantly disadvantaged by New York's tax policy? $29.2 million from the Astros or Rangers is more than $32.5 from the Yankees once you factor in New York's high income tax rate compared to Texas not having an income tax.
Would I rather live in New York with a higher tax taken out, or live in the middle of nowhere in Texas? No offense to Texas, but I don't know.
It's funny that this question is brought up because
I'm sorry. I'm one of those obnoxious New Yorkers. I can't imagine living anywhere else in the world. I'm sorry.
You see different you see different sports operate different ways. Like, this doesn't work in baseball though. How many free agents are signing with the Tampa Bay Rays and the Miami Marlins? There's no state tax in Florida, and I don't see anyone signing down there. So, and you don't see a lot of the free agents automatically go to Houston, automatically go to Texas, right? Are we going to see it happening when the A's move to Vegas? Are you going to see players just automatically sign there because they're in Las Vegas and there's no state income tax in Nevada? It doesn't always work in sports like this. So I don't know if it has to do with that in baseball. And again, I think there's prestige to play. If the Mets are going to pay so much more than what everyone else is paying, I don't think the players care about the taxes at that point. I really don't. So it's never proven to be the case, and the taxes have always been higher in New York. So yeah, I'd be willing to say that I don't think it matters that much. I really don't. I think in certain sports it may, but I don't think it matters as much as I think it matters to us regular citizens about how much we pay in taxes more than it matters to a multimillionaire.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Our final question from Casey Catro, 7050. Do you think the Yankees are one bold move away from a title, or do they need a quieter roster reset?
Here's the thing, Stacey. What's the bold move?
Right.
Like, who's the bold move they're going out to acquire? Their roster is pretty much set going into opening day. So I don't think there is a bold move they're going to be making.
I think any big move that they make will be at the trade deadline. Like, exactly. I don't see a big move happening before opening day, but trade deadline, sure, it's possible.
And I don't know if a roster reset is something that they're looking to do, right? I think, especially with where the players that are in their prime are at, right? Judge north of 30, Cole north of 30, Stanton north of 30. Like, their prime is all towards the back part of their nine. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that you really need to reset the roster right now or funk things up. I think you just kind of got to let it ride, see what your team is, and kind of assess things early June and see where you're at. Then you kind of reassess what you want to do, who you want to trade, how aggressive you want to be going forward.
That's the beauty of the baseball season. It's so long. And I know we're the first ones to talk about the boom swoon, but there are so many different, you have like 2 months, 2 months, and 2 months of the season, right?
Yep.
You want to start off strong. You don't want a crater in the middle, and you want to finish off strong. But there's so much time that even if you're hovering around the 500 mark, and I know people are going to say, but the AL East is so strong. I get that. But the Yankees will still have an opportunity to fix the team if something's going on by the time the trade deadline comes around.
Exactly. I agree completely.
Yeah. So some news from around the league quickly. The Rangers acquired Mackenzie Gore from the Nats. They made a trade this week. What do you think of that move?
I think they gave up a lot. And I wouldn't have been comfortable with the Yankees giving up this kind of package. Mackenzie Gore has been one of those guys throughout his career that certainly has the upside and coming out as a prospect is one of the top prospects in baseball, but never has really gotten to that level people think he's going to get to. So, yeah, I don't know if I would have given up as much as the Rangers gave up.
Right. And this last item I have to talk about because I thought it was funny. So I will look at MLB.com to see what's going on around the league. And MLB.com asked the question about Max Scherzer. Could Scherzer do what Clemens did in 2007? And my question is, will someone freak out about Scherzer as much as Susan Waldman did over Clemens in 2007?
I hope not.
I love you, Susan.
We'll see. It's weird with Scherzer. We also haven't gotten a retirement announcement of Verlander either.
Right. Because
I think both of those guys still want to play.
No, they do. Because I think was Verlander attached to possibly the Orioles last week? There was something going around about that. And Verlander's not going anywhere. He really isn't. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think
both of them are done?
No, I think they may not be signed before opening day, but I think I can see both Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer pitching for someone at some point in 2026.
Yeah. I think you're waiting.
I just don't know who.
I think we're waiting for a contender who's either short on pitching and didn't expect to be a contender, or someone who faces injuries in the rotation.
Yeah.
That's what I think you're going to end up seeing. I don't know if they're going to sign prior to opening day. I really don't.
We'll see. Yeah, no, I don't see it prior to opening day. I think they're both going to be signed after.
It's going to be nuts.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. All right, well, thank you guys for tuning in to a live edition of Fanmail Friday. We appreciate it. We appreciate all of you, our insiders, our everydayers, people who ask us questions on YouTube. So subscribe to us on YouTube, subscribe to us on every podcasting platform available. Follow us so you get all the latest episodes. You can also follow us on Instagram at Locked On Yankees, all one word, and at Locked On_Yankees on TikTok. And let's talk about the Everydayer Club, because Brian mentioned earlier in the show that you do get a discount for Locked On merch. Like,
there you go.
Yes. If you're not watching, I am wearing a Locked On Yankees t-shirt. And the fun thing about it is you don't have to get it in navy. You can get it in gray. You can get it in white. But you will have the logo on. You can also get regular Locked On merch. It's all pretty cool. You get ad-free episodes with the Everydayer Club. You get members-only Discord access. Plus, as we also said earlier in the show, you get a 60% discount. So if you want to join the Everydayer Club for the Knicks, the Giants, the Jets, the Rangers, you can do that too. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
so.
Get involved.
Yeah. For those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 national Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel, so you find out about everything happening in every sport. On audio, make sure your second listen is Locked On MLB with Sully. So that's going to do it for this edition of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsulias.
I'm Brian McKeon. We'll catch you guys Monday.
With Tim Kirkchin.
Absolutely.
Pretty cool.